My neighbor borrowed $4,000 of my kitchen gear, poisoned my cat, and told the whole street I was crazy. When I confronted him, he had the audacity to say, "You should try being a more considerate neighbor." I didn't say a word. That was 9 months ago. This morning, he was screaming about his partner while the cops dragged him away in cuffs. I laughed at my neighbor's joke, so he ruined my life. When Brad moved in next door, I thought he seemed friendly, the type to put your bins out without you asking, to buy you your favorite ice cream at the store just because. So when he knocked on my door asking to join my barbecue, I said yes. I knew what it was like to be the newbie in a neighborhood. Plus, I was eating alone anyway. We laughed at each other's jokes and agreed that the Knicks were better than the Lakers. And the first barbecue turned into a second, the second to a third, and within a month we had decided that Saturday was our day to barbecue together. Brad would show up with beer and we'd grill together. He'd cook the veggies, and I was on meat duty. And since he was still settling in, I let him borrow my tools and kitchen stuff. First it was my drill to hang pictures, then my Japanese mandolin slicer that cost me $300, then my Shun Chef's knife that I'd saved up for months to buy. I'm a total foodie and spent serious money on my kitchen gear, but I figured that's what neighbors do for each other. Plus, the problem only started when stuff didn't come back. I'd ask about my mandolin and Brad would say, "Oh yeah, I'll grab that tomorrow," but tomorrow never came. My $800 KitchenAid stand mixer vanished for 3 months. When I finally asked about it more firmly, Brad laughed and said I was being uptight about just some kitchen stuff. I started keeping a list: my Vitamix blender, my Le Creuset Dutch oven that was a gift from my late grandmother, my entire set of Wusthof knives. By the time the annual neighborhood BBQ rolled around, I was missing about $4,000 worth of kitchen equipment. I knew Brad would be there, so I came up with a plan. The morning of the BBQ, I went to his house when I knew he was at work. His spare key was under the mat, just like he'd told me. What I saw made me sick to my stomach. Right there in the kitchen was all my gear, completely trashed. My mandolin blade was chipped and rusty. The KitchenAid had batter caked in the gears. My grandmother's Dutch oven had burned food that looked like it had been there for weeks. The copper pans were scratched beyond repair. I wasted no time. I took everything back to my garage and loaded it all into boxes. I knew my time for revenge would come. And that day at the BBQ, it did. I waited until everyone, including Brad, was eating and chatting before I struck. Then I started bringing out the boxes one by one and setting them on a table near the food. People started noticing and asking what was in them. "Oh, just some stuff Brad borrowed," I said casually while opening the first box to reveal my destroyed mandolin. He's been so helpful teaching me about the importance of sharing. It was my proudest petty moment yet. And as I watched Brad's face drain of color, I felt a chaotic smile creep onto my face. I managed to drag out the unpack to a full 20 minutes. The burnt Dutch oven got gasps from the crowd. Ms. Lee from 2 houses down whispered, "Is that a Le Creuset?" And I nodded. When I pulled out the KitchenAid with dried batter flaking off like concrete, Brad started toward me. Meanwhile, everyone else was staring at him. They were like that when I borrowed them," he stammered in his usual pathetic voice, but nobody was buying it, not even me. But I didn't say anything, just smiled. I figured that Brad had suffered enough already, and I was right, because Brad's face turned red and he stormed off muttering about stuck-up neighbors and their precious things. The BBQ continued without him, and several people offered to help me see if any of my stuff was salvageable. I thought that was the end of it, but 2 weeks later, I got a notice from the city. It was about BS violations on my property. Apparently, my fence was 2 inches too tall. My shed was 3 feet too close to the property line. My deck didn't have the proper permits from when the previous owner built it. The fines totaled $12,000. I instantly knew Bede was behind it, but I didn't get mad, because I could afford the fines. But there was one thing Brad couldn't afford: his illegal Airbnb basement getting shut down. I discovered Brad's basement operation through pure accident. My cat had gotten out one evening and I was searching the neighborhood with a flashlight when I noticed something odd. Cars kept pulling up to Brad's house at all hours.